Hello guys, welcome back to Learn for Taraqi. In this video, we are going to learn about Python in just 10 minutes. Those who want to revise or want to learn Python from scratch, I think you can follow this video to understand it. So let's get started. I'm sitting in the VS Code. I have Ubuntu as an operating system. So I'm using UV package manager in order to create new Python projects, etc. You can install UV simply by installing pipx first, and after that you can install UV. After installing UV, you can manage Python dependencies. You can install multiple versions of Python or switch among them. So let me just write in the UV command in order to create new Python project. UV init. I'm typing in Python. You can type in Python project as well. Let me type in as Python project. Okay. So as soon as I type in, it creates a Python project directory in the current working directory. As you see, it has a hello.py as a file which contains hello world, hello from Python project. So I can run this file simply by going to the project folder, Python project. Okay. And then type in uv run hello.py. So it will simply create a virtual environment for you and then show the output. So you do not have to explicitly install Conda or any virtual environment related stuff. You have UV enough to run any Python project. Okay. And let me clear the screen of the terminal and then let's make a modification in order to learn Python quickly. Okay. So just I'm wiping it out. So let's understand types in Python. Okay. So let me just walk you to the Python variable types first. So Python variables and types. So if you in Python is a dynamic language, whatever you initialize to a variable, it will take that type. If I'm having x is equal to 10, so it consider it as an integer. If I'm initializing it with the float, it considers it as a float. Likewise, similarly, in name as Alice, it consider a string, and is active equal to true. Make sure that you may write it as capital T or capital F for false to consider it as a boolean. So I'm printing it all the types here. We can print the type of a particular variable by using the type function. So as soon as I do it and run the program again, it will show all the types of individual variables. Okay. So let's talk about f string within Python. Okay. Now normally when you type in, you put in print statement and that's it. If you want to type in this variable name, f string is the way to go. Okay. We have a lot of other syntax as well in the past, but this is the coolest one that you should be using. So we just have to write in f in double quote. In the double quote, you need to type in the message. And if you have to type in the variable, if you want to print the value of a variable, you will have to put those variable within the curly brackets. Okay. And if I just run this program after saving this, so you will see it will show the output. Okay. So this is the f string within the Python. So let's talk about if else condition within Python. So in case of Python, like every other language has a if else condition, etc. In case of Python, you just have to make sure that you type in as elif or else if case, and also you need to make sure that you are typing colon at the end of it. And in Python, a block of code is not represented by curly brackets, it is represented by tabs. So we need to put a tab in front of it, then only it will be considered under that particular block. So this particular line will be considered under if condition because there is a tab in front of it, right? So if we run this program, you can see the output. So x is exactly 10 because the value of x that we have on top is 10. That's why this particular condition gets invoked and it prints that statement. Okay. So let's understand for loop within Python. Looping basically. So I'm going to cover for loop only. It supports while as well. I think for loop is sufficient in most of the cases. Okay. So for loop in Python, you just have to type in for, then I, you can type it I in range. Range actually is a function which covers from the first value that is given 1 here till last value -1, which is 5. Okay, so loops from 1 to 5, and then we are again printing it with the help of f string. So this way it prints the each iteration. If we run the program again, it iterates over all the 5 elements. So it supports third argument as well, which is a step which can control the number of increment, basically increment or decrement the value if you pass in the third argument. Okay, if you hover over it, you will see the third argument is step. Okay, If you, and also if in the VS Code, if you do not see this auto, if this highlight etc., make sure that you install the Python extension within the VS Code. Okay, so let's talk about, we are covered up the loop within the Python. So let's talk about Python collections quickly. The major collections in Python are list, tuple, and dictionary within Python. So those were coming from Java background. So dictionary is nothing but hash map in the Java. And similarly, if we are talking about tuple, which is basically which is immutable collection. So in order to create a list within the Python, you just have to use the bracket syntax like this. So it will create a list of fruits, 3 fruits, and the second example is of tuple. Tuple is again, everything is similar to what list is, but it is immutable. You cannot modify the items within the tuple. Okay, and then we have an example of dictionary, which is a key value pair within the curly brackets. This is a dictionary in Python. Now how we can access values from the list? Okay, let me show you quickly. So for accessing any value, we just have to use this, we just have to use this syntax, fruits of by index. Okay, if you put in fruits of 0, it will print apple. Fruits of 1, it will print banana. Similarly for cherry. Okay, so if you print this particular lines, so here what we are doing, fruits.append, it will add orange after cherry, and then we are printing the length of that fruit collection, which is the list collection, which is comes out to be 4 after appending, and then we are printing the entire fruits. So let us execute this program. Let me clear the screen first and then execute it. Just you can see it properly. Okay, and here you see apple, banana, cherry, orange. Orange gets appended with the help of append, and then we have length, and then finally we are printing the entire fruit collection. Okay, so let's see how we can do the same thing with the dictionary. Okay, how we can do the same with the help of dictionary. So if you look into this, we are printing the all the keys present within the dictionary. If you want to print all the keys within the dictionary, here the keys are name, age are the keys of this dictionary. So we are printing all the keys with the help of person.keys as a function. Similarly, if you want to print the value of a key dictionary like Bob and 25, you can use a person.values. If you want to iterate our key and value together, then we can make use of the items as a method name within the dictionary. Okay, so that way we can access dictionary items. So if we run this program again, so if you look into this, it prints the keys, it prints the values, as well as it prints the key and value with the help of iteration. Okay, let me clear it. So let's talk about this is the talk about the dictionary. Okay, so I'm covering it quickly to make you understand all those concepts in a shorter period of time. Okay, so let's talk about Python functions quickly. You have learned about Python functions earlier in different languages. Here, nothing very different. You just have to make use of the def keyword in order to declare it as a function, and then the name of the function, and then you have to pass on the parameters, that arguments that the function should be expecting. Okay, after that, make sure that you make use of the colon syntax that we saw in if else statements as well. Okay, so def add a comma b, return a plus b. You don't have to you don't have to type in any semicolon etc. It does not support etc. So don't have to worry about that. And then how we can invoke add function? Simply result equal to add, passing the argument 5,7. It will get executed, and the result is stored within the result variable, the whatever the return the function returns, right? And then we are printing the value of result using the print statement with the help of f string. Right? Okay, so this is the function. Now the same function we can do it with the help of lambda expression. Lambda expression is nothing but it stores the address of that function. Instead of instead of invoking the function directly, we can store this particular thing in a particular variable. Okay, and then we can call it. So here we are defining the same add function with the help of lambda. So if you are typing lambda x colon x multiplied by x, so this particular thing we are storing into a variable square, and now we can invoke square by passing in the argument. If we pass in argument 4, it basically this statement will get executed. This statement is equivalent to returning multiplication of variable x with x. Okay, so the output will be 16. So because we are returning the square of a variable. Okay, so if we execute this program again, so the sum square 16 gets printed. Okay, this is about the functions within Python. Okay, now let's talk about classes in Python quickly. Okay. So understanding classes in Python is very easy, very simple. You just have to make use of the class keyword with the help of class C small and the name of the class. Okay, it is recommended that the class name should be capital, and then you need to have certain functions within the class. Okay, so what is necessary here? Here in the class we have this init underscore underscore init underscore underscore. There are 3-4 types of this kind of functions, like we have call, str, wrapper. Let me talk about it one by one. This is equivalent to constructor, those who are coming from object oriented with the Java or .NET background. So it is equivalent to constructor. Here self is equivalent to this keyword that normally we have in the other languages, but here we have to pass in self explicitly. We have to type in self explicitly. So if you have to assign those, like in the earlier and other languages, we write in this dot a equal to a. Here we are using self dot result equal to 0. So here we are considering self as a variable within the calculator, and then we are storing that value with the help of self, initializing it within the constructor. Self dot result equal to 0. Okay, here we have defined an add function within the calculator class, and apart from the self, this is the variables that we can pass using the object of calculator. Okay, so that's why it is written after self comma a comma b, and now the result is computed and it is returned by the add function. Okay, and similarly we have other functions call. So this str function is equivalent to toString function within Java or within Java. So where we just have to, if we just print this calc, then by default this will get invoked and gets printed. Okay, and if this particular function repr is behaving similar to str, but this is for the debugging purpose. So this is for user experience. If you have to return something to the end user, make use of str. If you want to debug anything, you can make use of the repr. If both are present, then str will take the precedence. If one of them is present, obviously that function is going to invoked. Okay, we can explicitly call this function with the str and wrapper function separately, like this. If you want to call the str function within the calculator class, so str object of calculator. If you want to invoke the wrapper function within the calculator class, wrapper, and then we have to pass in the object of a class. Okay, here how we are creating the object of a class? Simply calling this calculator and this. So if you have to pass this, if you have to support constructor with an argument, you can still create comma result or something else. Additional arguments can be passed within the init constructor, and we can pass in the value over here. Okay, after creating the object of calculator class, then we can invoke the add function using the calc dot add, like object, this is the object, and then we are calling this function add with the help of this add function. And now what is the use of this call function? If we directly calling this calc within the print statement, if we are directly calling this calc with the arguments, okay, so in this case primarily this particular function will get invoked. Okay, so we can directly make use of the object name with the arguments in order to call the call function. Okay, so call function is only invoked only when the variable, like object of a class, gets invoked with the arguments. That's it. Okay, so this is about the object oriented within the Python. If you want to use other interface or other object oriented principle within Python, there are different packages available outside, like AB package, etc., which supports the other inheritance or polymorphism, etc., within the Python. Okay, so you can go and read about it. Okay, so let's understand quickly about file handling within Python. So in order to have file handling within Python, we make use of this open function. So here we are trying to write something within the file. So we make use of with. With is a keyword, is basically we do not have to close the file explicitly using the finally, etc. So with the help of with, it makes automatically close that file as soon as the operation is completed. Okay, so with open function name as file, and then use the write function of that file and in order to write anything within the file. So as soon as we execute this, a file gets created within this project folder. And similarly, in order to read the same file, what we are referring the same file again with the R means I want to read, W means I want to write. Okay, and then we are reading the content of that file and printing it. So this is about file handling in Python. Okay, so we can run this program quickly. If we look into this, we have invoked the class as well, and also it gets printed from the file hello Python learners. This is what we have written in a file. So a file gets created over here with the name of sample.txt. This is the same name which we are passing it here. Okay, So last thing is we are going to understand about the try except, basically the try catch handling kind of in other languages. Okay, so if I just type in here try except and finally in Python, so here this is very important example where it covers about everything within the Python related to try except handling. Okay, so here what we are trying to do, we are taking the input. With the help of input function, we can ask input from the end user, so enter a number, and then we are parsing it into an int, because number should be int. By default everything is string in Python, like when something is input. Okay, so we are converting it into a number. If number is less than 0, what we are trying to say, just raise an exception with the raise keyword, raise value error, number must be positive. Okay, because we are doing some division, and if number is greater than 0, we are dividing 10 with number, otherwise we are raising the exception. Okay, exception is something which we cannot handle it, so we are just this particular keyword except block basically listen to this, whatever is raised over here, it will handle this particular. If this matches this, the statement will enter over here and print this statement. Okay, print value error, it will get executed. Okay, and this particular thing, if we just comment this particular one, okay, it will automatically enter into this 0 division error exception, and it says you cannot divide by 0. Okay, if you want to handle it yourself, then only we do it this custom error, throw custom error with the help of raise keyword. Okay, and finally block is used to execute everything. Even if this block is execute or this, finally always execute. Okay, irrespective of anything here, even if I am returning something from here or here, etc., finally block still execute. So in order to execute, always execute any piece of code, you have to put it within the finally block. Okay, so this is the try catch within the Python. Okay, try catch, use of try catch within Python. Okay, the last thing is, let's talk about modules and packages within Python. Let me run this program, clear the screen first to show you. Okay, so it asks for the input, enter a number. If I am typing 10, so the result is execution finished, which is the finally block. And if I run it again and use 0, so the exception happens, you cannot divide by 0, and execution finished. Okay, so this gets executed. Okay, so let me clear the screen. Now let's talk about packages and modules within Python. Every file in a Python is a module. Okay, if we add a folder, and within that folder if I'm having init file, okay, then it becomes a package. Okay, so let me show you quickly. Okay, so here we are making use of the existing module. Import math is a module present within the within the Python. So we are simply importing math and making math is basically a package. We are simply importing package with the import keyword and making use of the function within the package math.sqrt function. Okay, if you want to have your own package, you just have to create it. Here this is an example, so utils is not present, that's why it is showing up this kind of a line. So I can simply choose this project, create a utils folder here. Okay, and within that utils folder I can create a file with the name mymath. Okay, .py. Okay, so that way it becomes a module within the package, utils package. Okay, and here I can define a function def. Okay, calc add is my function, which simply as per my usage, here I am passing into variable. So I can say a comma b colon return a plus b. Okay, so this way I am creating a package, utils package, and within that utils package I am creating a module. mymath.py is a module. Within that module there is a function calc add. Okay, now in order to use that one, I'm using from, then package name, import, then module name, and then calling that function within the module name. Okay, if I'm not creating any folder, okay, if I'm directly having a file on top of it, like if I'm directly creating a file over here, my module.py, without even creating a folder, okay, and simply Now simply I want to call a function. So what I can do, so here I'm giving an example of def c is a function. Assume that c is a function which return 10. Okay, now I can simply call this like this, from my module. Okay, my module.py, from my module import c. I want to import that particular function within this module. So this is the same thing that like normally you see in most of the code base, if you see through any source code. So you will be able to understand like how the packages and modules are that are used. Okay, you can create your own modules and packages in order to support extra functionality within the Python project. Okay, so if you run this program after this thing, we can run this program, okay, to complete this. So look into that c function gets executed, okay, and the calc add function is executed with the output as 5. So yeah, so that's it for this tutorial. I hope you understand the concept of Python in a very short period of time. We covered a lot of things within the Python that is necessary to understand the Python from scratch, and those who are want to revise, it covers most of the holistically most of the things within the Python. So we are going to cover more about types in the upcoming video. So if you like this video, press the like icon and then subscribe to this channel if you want to stay tuned with our upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching this video. Stay tuned for more. Thanks.